Word on the street is that the main man has gotten Tekken God Prime with Noctis Luchis Kairumu. And I'm here like, hey man, hey, look at my anti-ruler Lars, isn't it? Well, it's not really about the rank. I just wanted to make a Lars video. Has been a long time since I haven't played this character and made a video with him in it. So that's what we're here for. Nice loading time. I'm pretty sure I had cut this out previously before starting the recording. Alright, I'm taking advantage of the load time to introduce the reason behind the video and the match. Let's get right on to it. This is my Raiden customization from Metal Gear Rising. His hair should be a little bit more ashen and less blonde. But I'm using, I guess, Metal Gear Solid 2 Raiden hair. I can change it later, but whatever. Maybe I don't feel like it. I'm fighting this dude who was also a Divine Ruler max rank, I checked. And I don't know if he's used Armor King a lot. I don't know if he used Armor King in previous games. He's you can see his win count for Suzaku, or Suzuki as we like to call it. That's a good win ratio. 87 wins, Suzaku. That's pretty good. He's on a 3-win streak as well. I've played Tekken Tag 2, as you might have seen. Played some days ago to see what was up with the game online. And we still have the usual suspects in that game, believe it or not. People that used to play that game back in the day. Like I remember this double ogre player. Obviously, none of the good players that I remember from that time are still playing Tekken Tag 2. You see, this guy's really getting greedy with the launchers, and I wondered if he had played Armor King in Tekken Tag 2 or if he had come from Tekken Tag 2, because in that game people do that a lot. They just throw out launchers. Anyway, I remember this double ogre dude who used to give me a lot of trouble, and he used to send me some funny mail as well. But now that I encountered him again, I really don't understand how he gave me trouble back then. Well, that's not true. I do understand how he gave me trouble, because obviously I'm not. My skill level isn't as it was back then. It's much better now. Much better. Vastly improved. Not to say that I'm great or anything, but I'm talking in comparison, in relative terms. So I was able to beat that guy again, and he didn't send me anything this time, which I found interesting. Maybe he just got tired of sending mail, but some people haven't. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I still got some mail from some people, but that doesn't really matter. I haven't gotten a lot of mail from Tekken 7 though. In Tag 2 I used to get it all the time. Well, not all the time, but most of the time. I guess I can say it all the time. It's a figure of speech. Anyway, Lars. Yes. I got the sudden. It's not a sudden urge to play the character. Well, you know that I've always liked Lars, right? When I played him in Tekken 6, I didn't know that he was top tier. I didn't even know what a tier was, or I didn't even know how to play Tekken. I played him in Yoshimitsu. I remember just doing hop kick with Yoshimitsu. That's what I did all the time. I did hop kick. That was a sidestep into by the way. It was a well positioned one. It wasn't just a random, oh my god, I'm panicking, let me just do a random upward 3. No, I sidestepped that. Because Armor Kings usually like to do capital punishment into down forward 1. If he's playing on player 1, on his camera, then it might look like I'm on forced crouch, so I can sidestep the correct way, which is to my left to avoid that down forward 1. because capital punishment is +3 on block, and down for 1 is down for 1. Down for 1 is, yeah, down for 1 is down for 1 obviously, but it's 13 frames of startup, and so it's like one of those perfect frame traps. If you duck jab, it's probably gonna trade. It's either, you know, capital punishment is either +4, +3, it's plus frames, whatever. I could have launched that. But you can sidestep if they just decide to do it, because it doesn't track to Armor King's right, so you can sidestep that direction. That move, by the way, sidestep 2-1, that's -13 on block. Well, I don't think that was even a good punish. I saw before playing, I was looking at low-high. I was looking at some players playing Lars. Low-high, Ni, Paruru. Paruru was playing Lars versus Chikuding's Jin. So I was looking into that match because I want to know how to beat. Well, I know how to beat Jin. I know his weaknesses, but it's just like a matter of playstyle and positioning your moves. I wanted to see exactly what Lars could do against Jin, because the thing is, I've put so much time into Lars that even if he's not as good as he was in Tekken Tag 2, I can still use him pretty well. And I feel like my defense is overall better with Lars. I was going somewhere with that, but I forgot. Oh yeah, so Jin. So since I'm going to be playing more defensive against Jin anyway, because I'm afraid of getting counter hit by everything, I decided maybe going back to Lars would be a good option. I also thought Claudio, because Claudio is also I like Claudio's range, with his back 4, 4-3, back 1. I like Claudio's range. And Claudio also has plus frames. The problem with plus frames is that Jin has ways of disrespecting plus frames. But why I'm so focused on beating Jin now is because at tournaments over here in Portugal, there's a good player. Well, good is an understatement. There's a very competent, very good player, very solid and strong. And he mains Jin. So when you put a character that's so good like Jin, added with such a great... What was I saying? Oh yeah, when you put such a great character that is Jin in the hands of a competent player who has very strong fundamentals, basics, but also mind games, basically it's a very complete player, it becomes a menace. And that dude has been winning pretty much every tournament over here. So we gotta find a way of stopping him. And obviously, I mean, you're like, what you're gonna do with Lars? I mean, I'm not exactly looking for the anti-Jin character or the anti-Jin formula. I'm thinking more like, hey, if I'm gonna lose, at least I'm gonna lose with my favorite character in it. Which I've stated previously that it was Devil Jin, and I can still play Devil Jin yet. But I don't think I'll be using Devil Jin at tournaments because of the execution. I've tried many times. Playing that character, and he's also Suzaku now. So I actually, if you look at my player record in this game, Devil Jin is my most frequently used character. Oh, I could have comboed that. But Devil Jin is my most frequently used character. I just didn't use him at tournaments. But I don't know. I think there's gonna be a tournament this month. I think I'll be using. I'm not sure actually. I guess I'll try Lars. But in case that fails, I still have Geese or Claudio. Not Noctis anymore. I mean, I've put a lot of effort into multiple characters now. So there's always that thought that goes through my head when I play. It's like, especially when I lose, it's like, oh, I lost with this character. I realize that the reasons why I lose most times aren't matchup based, they're not character based, they're player based. But I also know that if you, the more time that you spend with one character and you dedicate yourself to one character, the more synergy you will have to that character. The more you will be aware of like every situation in the game. So I think that's a bit more valuable than having multiple characters. Because obviously, you know, if your character is bad at something, like for some specific matchup, you know, like if you play Huarang, for example, and I know Huarang is Unga Bunga, but he does have bad matchups, like Asuka, maybe Steve. If you happen to have difficulties in that sort of situation, maybe you want to have a backup character, a secondary character. So in my case, like in case I screw up, I always have these. And then it's always like, if I'm facing a bear, for example, I think Noctis can wreck bears, because he can punish pretty much everything they do. And the spear low, normally lows don't reach bears, but you know, down back 2 and down back 3 also has pretty good range. All of Noctis lows have good range. They have enough range just to, you know, hit bears in the legs when normally characters would just whiff. So you know, you have like those situations, but then it's like, can't I do the same with my normal characters? Like, why do I have to use my secondaries? It's weird to think about all these things in conjunction and go like, what is my character, right? What is the character that I'm going to use? Because it's okay if you play a bunch of characters, and especially okay if you do it in casual, it's fun. But you know, when it comes to tournaments, you're playing there to win. So how much do you want to compromise about, you know, how good the character is, or who would you like to play? You know, I guess I always have trouble because I start playing a character for a long time, and I'm like, suddenly, oh, I guess I'm gonna try this other character, and I like all of them. I mean, it's really hard to choose between such cool characters like, you know, Geese and Devil Jin, Claudio, Noctis. And then there's always the other question that is, hey man, why didn't you just play Geese? Because Geese usually saves me when I lose with Noctis. And in every tournament that I've been to, when I start doing bad with Noctis, I switch to Geese, and hey, problem solved, easy. Obviously, I mean, I don't win every tournament, but I just noticed that there's that trend. I get easily mashed down with Noctis. And it would help if he had sort of a defensive tool. But then, you know, then he would actually be possibly S tier if he had like a Duck Jab or the generic down 4 or Magic 4, something like that. But those are still characters that I enjoy. I kind of feel like Noctis and Lars complement each other. They're friends in the lore, right? But like Lars is pretty good up close in the way that Lars is good in his own way, you know what I mean? Quote unquote good. But like, you know, Lars is good at sidestep, arc blast, you know, poking, down forward 1, jab, down 4, basic game plan. And Noctis can also do that, but he doesn't have, because the difference between Noctis and Lars is that obviously Noctis has massive range with his swords and warp strike, but also Lars has, you know, he has a back sway for a counter hit launch. He has that back 4 for counter hit launch. I mean, it's not counter hit launch, it's like 50 damage, whatever. Lars has his back 1+2, which crushes highs in some mids. He has up 4-3. He has a duck jab, a generic down 4. So Lars has a lot more defensive tools than Noctis up close. So even though they're and Lars can kind of play from mid range because of his orbital and dash down back 2-1 or something like that, or down back 4. So even though they're pretty similar in those regards, they kind of complement each other. Like if one had what the other one has, they would be broken, possibly. I find that funny. Anyway, let's finish this match now. You noticed a lot of maybe weird things in this match, like the guy going for a lot of sweeps. But I got him back there now from the behind, and I'm gonna kill this ninja. Easy promotion Matthew rule. It wasn't easy, but it was, well, it was what it was in it. Have a good one.